Sometimes the most incredible stories aren't found in big, thick books. They're found in a scattered trail of paper. And today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to follow that trail from official letters to faded postcards to piece together one family's unbelievable story of loss, survival, and how a name can endure through it all. So, let's get right into it.
Wow. Just take that in for a second. The complete loss of all hope. This single sentence is our anchor point today. It hints at a journey that is just unimaginable. The man at the center of this story is Kotkowski, and his life pushes the absolute limits of what a human being can endure. This quote right here, it sets the stage for everything we're about to uncover.
Okay, so this is our very first clue. And at first glance, it looks like, just some stuffy old formal letter. It's from the German embassy in Mexico, dated 1974. But inside this official request is the beginning of a thread. And if we pull on it, it's going to lead us all the way back through decades of war, displacement, and history itself.
To really get what these documents are telling us, we have to start with the man himself. So, who was Kotkowski? We'll begin with his official biography, which sketches out the basics of a life that was about to be completely and utterly turned upside down.
So Itzhak, who his family and friends called Ezio, had a pretty normal childhood in Warsaw. Born in 1921, he grew up in the city's lively Jewish quarter. His dad owned a general store, and he had 3 sisters. A typical life. And then, in September 1939, that life was shattered. He was beaten on the streets simply for being Jewish, and in that moment, he made the impossible, fateful decision to flee Poland, leaving his entire family behind.
And just look at this journey. This is absolutely harrowing. This wasn't just escaping across a border. He was arrested, sent to a slave labor camp in the Arctic of all places, forced to build a railroad in 60-degree below zero temperatures. Can you even imagine? After an amnesty, he defected and started his years-long trek south, eventually finding work in Kazakhstan. For 7 solid years, he was totally cut off, like a ghost moving across a continent at war.
It's an unbelievable story, isn't it? But, it's one thing to hear about it. It's another thing entirely to see the proof. So let's get back to the documents, and you'll see how this biography becomes a real, tangible history written right there in faded ink.
Okay, remember that first letter we saw from the German embassy? Well, this is what it was all about. It's a legal request from a court in Munich. Decades after the war, Itzhak, now living in Mexico, is being called as a witness. And boom, right there in black and white, the court confirms the core facts. Itzhak Kotkowski, born in Warsaw, December 25, 1921. This official piece of paper is our anchor, locking down the identity of the man who survived that impossible journey.
Okay, I want you to just try and imagine this for a second. 7 years. 7 years of total silence. You've endured the Arctic, you've trekked across Asia, and you have no idea if anyone from your family is even alive. And then, in 1946, you find her, your sister, Anya. The feeling of that reunion is it's almost impossible for us to comprehend.
And this right here is the physical proof of that bond. It's a letter from Anya. She's writing from New York in 1950 to her dear brother who's now in Israel. Look at that elegant Polish script, that fragile paper. This isn't some legal form. This is love, right here on a page. It's a real, physical piece of their reunion, a testament to a family connection that somehow miraculously survived the Holocaust.
So, the paper trail has confirmed Itzhak's identity and his survival. But what about the world he lost? The life that came before all this? Well, believe it or not, the documents can take us there too. Let's go back in time, to Warsaw, just 1 year before the world fell apart.
Check this out. It's a postcard sent by a man named Abraham Kotkowski, almost certainly a relative, in November of 1938. Look at him, so sharp in his bow tie. On the back, there's a warm, handwritten note wishing joy and prosperity. This is so much more than a postcard. It's a snapshot, a perfect little moment of peace, of normal family life, with absolutely no idea of the catastrophe that was just around the corner.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting for me. Because the paper trail doesn't just tell one man's story, it starts to reveal the history of an entire family name. But here's the thing about archives. They're messy. Super messy. Names get misspelled, they get changed, they get recorded differently. To find these ghosts in the records, you really have to know what you're looking for.
This is a page from the index of the Ringelblum archive, and you have to understand what this was. It was this unbelievably brave, secret project where historians and residents buried thousands of documents in milk cans and metal boxes beneath the Warsaw Ghetto.
It was a desperate act to make sure their stories would outlive the Nazis. And right there, among all those names, is Kotkowski IL. It places a Kotkowski right inside the historical record of the ghetto itself.
But what happens when the name you're searching for isn't spelled the way you think? This is a perfect example. Look at this entry from a 1927 business publication. A company's name is being changed from Berko Kotok to B.H. Kotok. Kotok is a common variation of Kotkowski. This just goes to show how names could morph and get recorded differently, even in official papers, long before the war.
And it gets even wilder the further back you go. This is a Warsaw City directory from 1869. And on the same page, you find all these different spellings that are clearly related. You see Kotkowski, but you also see Kotkowski and even Kostasko. It's a fantastic illustration of the challenge, and honestly, the thrill of this kind of research. A single misprinted letter, a slightly different spelling, and you could completely miss an entire branch of a family tree.
So when you put it all together, the trail really starts to take shape. From 1869 all the way to 1941, across city directories, business ledgers, and even the secret archives of the ghetto, the name keeps popping up. Kotkowski, Kotok, Kotkowski, Kosko. Each one is like a little breadcrumb, leading you down the same historical path.
So, where does that leave us? What do we make of all this? What does this collection of fragile, scattered pieces of paper actually tell us when we lay them all out together?
Well, it's like every single document is a piece of a giant puzzle. That German legal letter, that's a corner piece. It gives us a solid fact, a name, a date. The sister's letter, that's the heart of the puzzle, an emotion, a bond that survived. The postcard gives us a memory of a world that's gone. Even a simple line in a directory proves existence. None of these fragments can tell the whole story on its own, but together they let us reconstruct a life, a family, and a history that was almost completely erased.
You know, the paper trail of the Kotkowski family is such a powerful reminder that history isn't just about big events and dates in a textbook. It's personal. It lives in the documents we happen to save and the ones we forget. And it makes you think, doesn't it? Every single name holds a history. So the question I want to leave you with is, what stories are hidden in yours?